Well, hello, General Hospital Daily Recap fans. Today's recap is for Wednesday, July the 27th, 2022. I like the show today. Now, today, to me, it was a good episode. I'm going to get the boring things that I think is boring out the way first. First and foremost, the conversation between Maxie and Britt by the poolside, and then Cody shows up and all of that oopla. He gets under Britt's nerves. He asks for forgiveness. He buys them a drink. Maxie leaves them alone for a minute. Britt drinks her version drink because she had to go to the work to at the hospital, and he asks for a do-over. She says no, but he knows that no is going to probably be a yes, because then he talks to Maxie, and Maxie pretty much is like, tells him, don't give up, all of that boring oopla oopla. But that was the Britt and Cody situation. We had Jordan at the hospital talking to Britt, because Britt arrived at work, and Jordan was talking to her about Oz's overdose and the opioid that he overdosed on. And Britt was like, wait a minute, is that starting up again? Because, with Cyrus Renault, they had a bunch of overdoses. And Jordan says, no, I really think this is unrelated, so no. But she goes, can you tell me? Because Britt couldn't give Jordan a lot of answers because she would have needed a warrant for all of that. And Jordan is doing this official but unofficial investigation. She doesn't want to alert the district attorney on a lot of things right now. So she said, well, let me ask you some hypotheticals. Okay, does Oz have a prescription, on file for this drug? And Britt says, no, I can't give that information out. She goes, okay, then can you tell me if he hasn't purchased this drug or picked up this drug from the pharmacy here at the hospital? And so Britt says, I can tell you that, no, he hasn't, but she couldn't tell her if he had a prescription, any of that. So then Jordan says, okay. And then she asked some other, questions about, if you did have a prescription for this, you would know not to mix it with alcohol because it would cause some damage. And, Britt was like, yes, you don't want to mix this pretty much with alcohol. And then, excuse me, Britt says, no, Jordan says, has anyone talked to you about this drug or bought this particular drug up to you? And Britt was thinking, excuse me, something's in my throat here. Britt immediately started thinking about Spencer, because Spencer brought the drug to her and said it was Esme's. And Britt was like, well, hypothetically, if they had, what is there an investigation? What's going on? And so Jordan says, well, look, what I can tell you is this could be instrumental in the Trina Robinson trial, because she told him, Oz was the one who could have sold the black market cell phone. So Britt really started thinking, but she didn't tell Jordan anything. She's like, well, no, if I don't know anything, or if I hear anything, I'll let you know. She kind of let Jordan know about that. So then that was those two. Now, what we found out is Spencer was called, which is why he looked so good going to court. He was called as a witness for the prosecution. And when Trina first saw him walk into the courthouse, her eyes lit up, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness. And Rory saw it. She just lit up that Spencer was there. So she goes over to speak to him, and Rory, because she was talking to Rory, and he's like, I don't think that's it. And she, no, I'll be back. She goes right over there. Why are you here? Like, are you here to help me? And then she wrote, no, you're a witness for the prosecution of, you're here to testify against me, to help, the prosecution build a case against me. So how could you do that? And I'm thinking, well, for one, they would never let the two parties talk in reality. Okay. But then Rory comes over and he, ushers her away. Or the prosecuting attorney, district attorney, calls Spencer over or comes up to them and, takes Spencer away and says, "Where's Esme? Where's Miss Prince? Because she's supposed to be here." And he goes, "She'll be here." So I'm going to come back to Spencer on the stand. Nicholas at the home at Windermere, Jordan goes to visit Nicholas. And she's asking him about his visitor, at his house, and who could he be there visiting? And Nicholas was saying that he wasn't home at that time. Ava was not home. Spencer wasn't home, but to his knowledge, Esme was home all day. So that led Jordan to say, okay, that he was probably there to visit Esme. And so he says, but I have no knowledge, that he was there. So she goes, well, can you question your staff? My thing is, does the launch just let any old body come ride? There should be a log on who's riding the launch over to Windermere, right? So Nicholas, when she left, and Jordan ended up saying that he's in a coma from a drug overdose. So when she left, Nicholas just got the flashbacking on a lot of the conversations that he had with Esme. And now, oh no, he's panicking. Oh no. So Victor, as he's ready to walk out the door, Victor walks in. And Victor is so smooth. He's like, wait, whoa, you're flustered. Calm down, my boy. What's going on? Tell Uncle Victor what's happening, And Nicholas says, oh, it's Esme and she's about to blow up. I got to get to the courthouse. I got to get to Ava before she does. And he's like, well, why? What could she possibly have? And he goes, oh, no, you didn't, Nicholas. I mean, it just really came. He's like, you didn't. And he goes, I did. And now I think she's gonna try to, run and tell Ava. And I gotta tell Ava first. Because if she hears it from me, it'll be better than hearing it from Esme. And Victor's like, no, there's other ways we deal with Esme. He goes, as a matter of fact, effective immediately, Cassadine Hospitality is now withdrawn from Esme. And Nicholas is like, well, what does that mean? He goes, first of all, she's getting out of this house, And Victor says, and you know what? Since she's obviously a threat to your happiness and my Spencer's happiness, then I'm gonna deal with her. So he takes out his cell phone. He was getting ready to order the hit on Esme, and Nicholas is like, no, Uncle, no, Victor, what you're planning on doing, I'm not signing off on. I'm supposed to be turning over a new leaf. And I want transparency between me and Ava. And I don't want, me to have to say that we got rid of Esme, as if he truly wants transparency. Yeah, right, Nicholas. He's like, I should have told Ava a long time ago. It should never have happened, period. But anyway, so Victor's like, well, you kind of like, oh, well, if you don't want me to eliminate her, okay, well, what else we gonna do? So anyway, Victor ends up telling Nicholas, I'm gonna drive you, you're a wreck. I'm gonna drive you to the courthouse myself. But we're gonna work on that Esme situation. That was, I actually liked Victor's quick, hands-on, ready to take care of business response. But then we had, it showed Esme. Esme goes to visit Ryan. Now, Esme is talking to Ryan and she's saying, I need your help. And he's like, okay, what's going on? And he's like, you know what? You're playing around with those teenage spiders and now what you got bit, in a barrel and now you got bitter. And he's like, you're just messing up everything. And he goes, Spencer says that he's found my mother. Now, what was interesting to me was Ryan's response. Because first and foremost, he goes, well, for one, how could Spencer find her when I tried to find her to no avail? And she goes, well, it was his Uncle Victor that found her. So Ryan's like, okay, Cassadines do have a lot of resources, possibly. He goes, but I never knew your mother's name. He tells her the story that his mother understood the true him, and he could be himself with her mother, and he loved her mother, and then she just walked away from him. And in my mind, I'm thinking, what, did she walk away after she had a baby? Because how did he end up? I know Esme was adopted, but did the mother walk away? Did she give Esme away for adoption and then Ryan found out later? I don't know. But anyway, he said he loved her, and it broke his heart when she just walked away from him. He goes, that was during a dark time in my life, and yada, yada, yada. And so he goes, I think Spencer's bluffing. And so Esme's like, well, maybe he's not. And I really want to know who my mother is. And since you're telling me you, after all this time you spent with you loved her so much, you never knew her name. She's like, Spencer's offer is looking, better. And he goes, look, I'm going to tell you something right now. It's time for you to leave the Cassadines' house, because if they found your mother, then it's not too far behind that they're going to find our connection, which also leads me to believe Esme's mother is not Felicia. Ryan knows who she is and where she is. So we'll see about that. Today threw me with Esme's mother and Ryan's reaction. So he said, no, we don't want that. It's too crucial. It's time for you to, break them up. You need to tell them to stop. She goes, not yet. He goes, no, stop stalling. Because if Nicholas tells Ava first, you lose your leverage. You need to be the one to break them up. So Esme lets him know, I'm supposed to go to court, and Spencer wants me, pretty much to exonerate Trina Robinson, and all of that. Ryan could care less about. He's like, that is not a part of my plan. That's some madness you got yourself into. He's like, you need to stick to the plan. So the district attorney called Esme on the phone and said, you're supposed to be here, and if you're not here by the time we reconvene from recess, you'll be in contempt of court. And so with Ryan's response to, I didn't know your mother's name and all of this, Esme looks at him and she actually got quite bold. She goes, well, you know what? Because he was saying, family can be a disappointment, and this, and this. And she said, you know what? I could go, I could testify, I could offer a deal so that I don't do any jail time by giving up information on you. And when she said that, how Esme gets that evil, hateful look in her face. She's looking at him with that cold blanket look. And he stands up out of his wheelchair with his cold look. And I look, as they show the two getting closer and closer, it's like, oh my God, evil versus evil. Wow. Because Esme is definitely her father's daughter. But he got closer to her, and she's still just staring him down. And he leans in towards her and he whispers in her ear, because she goes, I could just run. Meaning, if I run, you'll never get out of here, because his plan hinges around her. And he leaned into her and he said, there is not a place on earth that you could run, that you could hide, that you could ever get away from me. And she got a little terror in her face. you know, because he was scaring her, because he let her know, girl, I will find you, hunt you down, and kill you. Do you think about that? So that kind of broke that death stare, and she got scared. But then he, after he whispered that evilness in her ear, he reached in and he hugged her. And he said his brother was wrong, that he could love another person because he loved her. He said he loved her mother and he loved her, which is why her saying she'll run away from him, he couldn't bear it, because that's what is really stuck with him, that the mother just ran away from him. And so she's like, I would never leave you, Dad, or whatever she calls him, Dad, I could never do that. I will always be with you. I will help you in all this, that, and the other. And he's hugging her, and then she is turning to leave, and he goes, Esme, don't take Spencer's offer. Don't do it. When I get out of here, you and I will find your mother together. So she's looking at him, and she doesn't really give him any real indication which way she's going to go, but oh, she really did with her crying in his arms. Come on now, you know. So she's not going to take Spencer's offer, but we shall see what happens on the stand. So now let's get back to Spencer on the stand. He's being interviewed, or he's being examined by the district attorney. And Spencer pretty much, he told the truth, all of the truth. The truth about, you know, Trina got upset, she felt ill, she ran out of the room, she went into her room. And so the district attorney said, if that's where she really went. And Diane was like, well, objection, you know, like, what is that about? You know, you can't do commentary like that. So the judge told her, listen, you do that again, you know, and you're going to be in trouble. So she she redid that. She goes, do you know for a fact, did you witness her going in the room? And Spencer had to say no. And then she said, then what happened? He says, well, Jocelyn really lit into me about, you know, allowing Esme to say what she said and upset Trina and do all of that. So as we're arguing, Esme gets upset and she runs out of the room for the things that the evil things or the hateful things that Jocelyn said about her. You know, so we're continuing to argue. And then he goes, how long did you stay? He goes, no, not soon after that, because Esme then came back and said that we were leaving. She had ordered a car, so we left. And then the district attorney says, so then it was just Trina, Miss Robinson, Miss Jackson, Mr. Weber left in the cabin. And Spencer's like, she goes, after you left, that's all that was there. And Spencer's like, I don't know, I left. They could have had a party with the neighbors after we left. I don't know. That was funny. And so she goes, as far as you know, when you left, who was there? So then he clarified that up. And so she said, that, she was done with him. That was all, Your Honor. So the judge decides he wants to take a recess. And then Diane is going to cross-examine tomorrow, which is going to be good, because I caught what Spencer did as soon as he did it. There's a car alarm going off in the background. Ignore that. Oh, good, it's off. So I caught what he did right when he did it. He says, Esme got upset and left the room. Do you know, I forgot that. She sure did leave the room. That's when she actually planted the camera, when she, in fact, left the room. And truth be told, here's the truth. The truth is, Esme knew Trina was in her room, because when Esme left the room and set the camera up, She came back. Spencer said, before we leave, I want to check on Trina to make sure she's okay. And Esme looked at him and said, Trina is asleep in her room. Now let's go. And she grabbed his hand and they left. See, Esme knew Trina was in the room. She made sure she was, so that the coast was clear for her to go into the other room. I had completely forgot. Spencer didn't say all that on the stand, but that jogged my memory with what happened after Esme got back into the room. So it was really, really good the way that happened. And what happens is after the recess, Trina walks up to Spencer, you know, you just had to, oh, she's telling him off. And I'm thinking, why are you bothering? You said something to him before, you're running up now. And of course, Rory comes back. It's like, let's go, Trina. You know, it's like, for one, I'm surprised Diane didn't tell her you can't do that to the witness. I'm getting ready to cross-examine. So Trina leaves with Rory, and Spencer's just sitting there. So Ava leans into Spencer. And it was so cute. I mean, I actually liked that. I liked the dialogue because Ava's been watching Spencer and she's been watching his actions where Trina in this trial is concerned. And a number of things have raised her senses. What side, whose side is Spencer on? There's something else going on here. So she leaned in and she goes, now, why Spencer Cassadine, you know, you had every opportunity to give Esme a solid alibi, and yet you didn't. You said she left the room for a period of time. And so Spencer turned around and he said something like, oh, well, I guess I'm, what do you say? Not stupid. Maybe he said stupid. I guess I'm stupid, or I guess I'm something he said. I forget the exact word. And she leans in. She goes, no, no, no. You're not. You're all but that. She goes, you're very, very smart. She goes, as a matter of fact, it begs to differ. Whose side are you really on? And he's kind of smiling, you know, a little bit after this picture, he's kind of smirking a bit like, yeah, I know whose side I'm really on. And I thought that was cute. Ava picked up on what he did. And so what happened is Diana's out and she's talking to Trina and she's saying, and she's like, oh, Spencer, he made it worse. And so Diana's like, no, no, he actually didn't. He handed me an opening. He told us all that Esme left the room. And Diane was like, I can't wait to cross-examine. So it's going to be good because not only is Diane going to cross-examine tomorrow, but Esme is going to be in court and we're going to see what she does. We're going to see. It's this trial, I honestly cannot predict how it's going to end, but today was pretty interesting. Today was pretty interesting. So now it's time, let's get to Comment Corner. I love Comment Corner. I have a new comment for, and I don't want to pronounce your name wrong. It's DeHavelin or Devlin. And Devlin says, please, I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong. She looked up Luke's place. Remember I asked the question, can anybody give me some information on Luke's place? What kind of place, what was it? She Googled Luke's place and it was a casino that Luke opened up. And the casino was actually, I think it was downstairs. And Luke, because I looked it up too after that, and I saw a scene, and Luke says gambling can't start until after 9 p.m. That was like a rule. So Luke's place was a casino in the 80s. So it was after he raped Laura. He raped Laura in 1979. So in 1980, he had Luke's place. Now, Mary says that Sonny's finally had enough. And she said, Jocelyn, go sit down, And she said, Molly, don't give up, on the law and justice. You can't change the system overnight, which is definitely true. She said, Molly is strong like Alexis. Molly's going to find her lawyer niche. She really is. I just don't think it's going to be as a prosecutor. And then everybody says Nicholas should grow a pair. So that's definitely, that's all of our consensus. And then Monique says that now Jocelyn has a problem with Jason and Sonny, because there have been a number of times when she went to Jason and told Jason to get rid of Nell. And I don't mean get rid of her by putting her on a bus, getting her out of town. She wanted Jason to kill Nell, but yet Jason is stupid, right? And then she asked Sonny for some help. I think initially when she wanted Sonny to threaten Esme. And now she's got a problem with them. That's just because she's upset, she's pissed. But one thing that I said is, I said, look, this is not the first time Jocelyn has been pissed off at Sonny. She didn't speak to Sonny for a year or so, back when Sonny had Jax deported. When during that little feud they were having, he had Jax deported and sent back to Australia, and Jax couldn't come back to the US allegedly ever. And Jocelyn was livid. She actually went to go live with Jax for a while after that, because she did not want to stay in the same house with Sonny after he did that to his father. But then, of course, we all know Jax got that overturned a couple of years later. And then Sandy just wanted to mention, thank you so much, Sandy, for the compliment. She loved the fact, about this channel, and that we're getting a lot of new subscribers. Yes, we are. I'm so happy too, because I'm just having a lot of fun. And that's exactly what I put in the comments. Look, it's not perfect. You heard the car alarm go off. I had to start coughing. I don't believe in just cutting out mistakes and making it perfect, because then it wouldn't be fun. See, there's nothing really perfect when you're sitting around with friends talking about your favorite soap opera. You cough, the dogs come in and interrupt, all kinds of things happen. And look, that's real life. So I don't want to cut. I don't want to make it perfect. I want this just to be me having fun with all of you, talking about our soap operas. And then Sandy also said, it's about time that Spencer questioned Nicholas about always coming to Esme's aid. Yeah, it sure was about time. And then she said, Joss has a lot of her mother in her. She sure does. And Carly gave her good advice. Carly did give Jocelyn good advice. And actually, I'm very proud of the way Carly has raised Jocelyn. She's done a good job. For Carly being such a volatile character, she's done a very good job. She's a very good mother. She really, really is. And Sandy feels that Jocelyn and Michael should just calm down. And then, of course, Sonny comes to Nina's rescue again, but the bartender was wrong. He came out of pocket as an employee. You don't ever talk to one of your bosses that way. It doesn't matter. You need to suck it up. And then she's like, Nina can't have not one conversation without mentioning Carly. That is so, so true. And we're all sick of that. She says that she's really sick of the two, Sonny and Nina. It says after she watches their scene, she needs to put bleach in her eyes. That was so funny. I had to give a little chuckle on that. And of course, she likes Rory and Trina as well. But look, we can already see, because no matter what Spencer has done, as soon as he walked into that courtroom, Trina's eyes just blossomed. And she runs right over there. Oh, goodness gracious. What is it with bad boys? And then this chemo beauty, she said that she believes Nicholas is scheming with those divorce papers. He's got some kind of reason, something going on, why he did this 180 with Ava. Yeah, I don't know what that could be. He says she said she wouldn't be surprised if he forged Ava's name on her signature on the paper and had her walking around thinking they're still married when in essence they're divorced. That's funny. And then everybody, it's a consensus. Everybody says Jocelyn needs to stay away from Sunny. Just stay in her own lane. And she says that would have been the last day the bartender worked for her. We all feel that no matter how we feel about Nina, that bartender shouldn't have talked the way he talked. So yeah, I'm with you on that. And Nina, let's see. And for she's Nina feeling like Sunny needs to cut Carly completely out of her life because she really would like to be able to control Sunny like she kind of controlled Mike. And we all know that will never, ever happen. And it's already starting to manifest itself with Sunny because Sunny's actually very selfish. And he's getting back to his old Sunny self. So we shall see how long he and Nina will last. Well, that's the comment corner. Today was a good episode of General Hospital, I think. I want to know, what do you feel? How do you feel about Spencer's testimony? How do you feel the trial is going? What was your favorite scene today? Did you like today as much as I like today? Please give your comments and share this channel out to others. We need more subscribers. We need more people chiming in. And I will be back tomorrow for Thursday's recap of General Hospital.